In this video, I will explain how we would need to go from one number reflecting debt to equity ratio to two numbers, weight of debt and weight of equity, in a firm's capital structure. So what are weights of debt and equity? What we mean by weight of debt is the percentage of money that a company is working with that is borrowed. So it could be, let's say, 30% or 40%. And the percentage of money that is not borrowed but that is brought in by the owners of the company is known as the weight of equity. So that would be, let's say, the remaining 70% or 60%. So how would we find out these two weights if what we know is the debt to equity ratio? So debt to equity ratio, D over E. D stands for debt, E stands for equity, and the weight of debt is, let's call it W debt and W equity, right? Let's say we know the following. So let's say the debt to equity ratio equals 1. What does it mean? It means for any amount of debt, right? This is debt. We have as much money in equity, right? So let's say this is $1. This is also $1. For every $1 that the firm has that's borrowed, it has as much money, as many dollars in equity, right? Okay, so this equals 1. And so what's the total? The total, it's like we have two boxes, right? 2. And so now we can go to the two weights. So weight of debt, what is it equal to? Weight of equity, what is that equal to? Weight of debt is basically 1 out of the total, 1/2, right? So 1 over 2, or 0.5. And the weight of equity is also 1 box out of a total of 2 boxes, right? So 1 over 2 boxes. So again, 1/2 or 0.5. So 50% and 50%. Now let's do another example. Let's say debt to equity ratio equals 2. What does it mean? It means there is twice as much debt in dollars as it is in equity. So it's like we have 2 boxes on top, which is debt, like $2, right? $1 and $1, over only 1 box in equity, right? So that equals 2. And so how many boxes do we have total? 2 for debt, 1 for equity. That is 3 total, right? 1, 2, and 3 boxes. And that allows us to again go to the weight of debt and the weight of equity. So what are the weights? Debt is 2 out of a total of 3, right? 2 out of 3, or 2/3, right? 2/3, which is approximately 0.67 or 67%. Weight of equity, 1 box out of a total of 3 boxes. So 1 box on top, on the bottom we can put 3. And that gives 1/3 as expected, which is the remaining percentage, or approximately 33%. Now let's do one last example. Debt to equity ratio equals 3. Now you can see the pattern. So debt is 3 times the amount of equity. So we have like 3 boxes for debt, right? Divided by only 1 amount in equity, right? That's 3. How many boxes do we have in total? 3 for debt, 1 for equity, that's 4, right? 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what does it imply for the two weights? Weight of debt, weight of equity. Debt is 3 out of 4, right? 3 out of 4, or 0.75, 75%. And equity is 1 out of a total of 4 boxes, 1 over 4, or 0.25. And notice how the weights always add up to 100%, or 1 in decimals. 0.5 and 0.5 equals 1, 0.67, 0.33 equals 1, 0.25 and 0.75 together equal 1, which is how it should be. Now let's see if we notice any pattern. How would we generalize this? Okay, so in general, what you notice is we have this interesting pattern. When the debt to equity ratio is 1, the weight of debt is 1 divided by 1 plus 1, or 2. When the debt to equity ratio is 2, the weight of debt is 2 divided by 2 plus 1. And here it's 3 divided by 3 plus 1. So the weight of debt is always calculated by taking the debt to equity ratio and you divide it by debt to equity ratio plus 1. And the weight of equity is what's left. So you can do 1 minus the weight of debt, or if you look at our pattern here, it's always 1 on top. 1, 1, and 1. 1 divided by what? The same number you used on the bottom of your weight for debt, which is debt to equity ratio plus 1, right? So this is how we would be finding the two weights kind of more generally, right? Now to go back, it's actually pretty easy. Going back, I mean, what if instead we know the two weights, but we want to find the implied debt to equity ratio? To go back, the debt to equity ratio is always equal to the weight of debt divided by the weight of equity. So for example, weight of debt in this example is 0.75. We divide by weight of equity 0.25. We get exactly 3, which is what we already knew. Here 0.67 divided by 0.33 would give us 2, which is exactly the debt to equity ratio that we were deriving the two weights from.